lovely Mary and her friend afterwards, this is an Auckland thing. Or you might also think this is a modern thing. It's really not. It's really, really not. How about Otago Daily Times, 1893, page 4. I took a train trip out through the Tairi. It goes up into kind of central Otago. It's a scenic tour up to Knobs End, which everyone loves Knobs End because you jump out and take a photo beside the thing. I'm at Knobs End. And of course, it was when I was fairly new to Dunedin, and friends came down, we went on this trip. The conductor comes across and he tells a story about Wingatui. Wingatui is a suburb out by Mosgiel where the raceway is. And the story is there was a man who lived in Wingatui and he went out hunting one night and he saw a tui and he shot it and he missed it, but he winged it. And from evermore, the place was known as Wingatui. And my bullshit nerve went, yeah, that doesn't seem real to me. I mean, if anything, you'd call it Wingatui. You wouldn't call it Wingatui. It just didn't make sense to me. But this is you've probably heard that story, Chewy. That's the common parlance of that thing. So straight away, whilst I'm on the train, I got on my phone and I found this article, Chewy, and you'll love it. So this is not a new story. This is 1893, 131 years ago. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I love this letter because it uses words like spake in it. It's fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Sir, I am reminded by a friend that I have not fulfilled my promise to sum up the evidence for and against Wingatui. By your leave, I will now proceed to do so. I love this so much. It's so cool. He goes through and he talks about how he thought it was a whangatua at one stage. This is what this guy thought. And he goes through and he tells the story and he talks about Waihola, a corruption of Waihora. So there's another mistake out now here in Dunedin. Goes through, goes through.
No L into there.
Yep. Went through and he talks about the legend of the story of Wingatui, and he gets to the end of it and he says this. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just read it to you. I'll just read from here. A letter from a gentleman well versed in the Māori tongue, which sets forth the old name thus. A native from Henley tells me that the place where formerly a forest grew was known to old Māoris as Wingatui, a dividing or separating of tui birds. This might well be after the birds had been snared. So what's more likely? Some dude winged a tui or someone bastardized Wingatui? So I love that story. For one reason. I hate it for one reason because it stayed like that for 130 years. But I love it because, people will think about, oh, you fucking millennials, you fucking Gen Zs and their woke tards and all, they fucking change up. No, this conversation's been going on for over 130 years down here. And I'll tell you what, get a Scottish place name wrong in Dunedin and there's hell to pay on the front page of the ODT. But the thing I wanted to show is that this conversation about place names being changed is not new, is not woke, is nothing like that. It's been going on since the country began, and some people have been wanting to get the names correct. If I had a record of me somewhere in my old boys network for school and they'd misspelt my name and I've been out of school for 30 years, I'd be like, it's been wrong for 30 years. Could we just change the spelling on it now just to get it right? Because it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get it right. It'd be nice to get it right. And I love that story about Wingatui, and I've used it a lot since I found that out. But the bullshit nerve worked.
That's a great piece. I love it. Look, one of the things that I love about getting these names right, and I've mentioned a couple that mean a lot to me, like have always said Tekapo, and finding out that it's actually closer to Takapo. And just, again, you get that knowledge and you try a little bit harder. And it's not a zero-sum game. It doesn't matter if you try and don't quite get it right. It doesn't matter if you forget sometimes. The attempt is important. It shows respect. But to actually get these names right, and quite often there's a story behind them, that I really appreciate. This came about through the names of the Auckland suburbs and that sort of thing. But there's actually been a couple in the news both from here in Otago and elsewhere in the country. So we've got this one. Kind of made me a little bit mad because it is exactly what we're talking about here. Central Otago Council rejects Maniatoto Maniatoto name change. Central Otago Mayor Tim Cadogan has stood against his council as the lone voice supporting a Māori name correction in the district. So this is exactly what they're talking about. They acknowledge that the name is wrong, and that it means nothing in its current form. They acknowledge that the proper name translates to the Red Plains, referring to the area's native tussock spread across the plain, which is great. It tells a story about where you are. And the current name has no meaning in Te Reo Māori. So they acknowledge the error, but do not support a change.
Okay, boomers.
And that's exactly what it is. They are afraid of the kickback because there will be kickback. But at this point, it's just like, just acknowledge the change the signs when they need to be changed. It doesn't need to be this whole thing where everybody's immediately wrong. And then, in a very similar vein, consultation opens on a plan to change Petone spelling to Oni.
Yeah.
And this is kicking up the same sort of thing, exactly the same thing that we had on that call for Marcus Lush. I haven't been saying it wrong. You're saying I'm a dumbass or a racist or that sort of thing. No, we're just pointing out that we've got it wrong. Yeah. It means something if we do it this way. It's a garbage nothing word if we do it the other way.